Yeah, now we have it. The British junior doctors stop work for 6 days and the government considers inflation compensation to be unaffordable. And that means in Great Britain, junior doctors have begun the longest strike in history of the NHS. They went on strike on Wednesday morning and plan to stop work for 6 days straight until next Tuesday. David Probert, Chief Executive of University College Hospital in London, told the BBC about the impact that the vast majority of routine appointments in London hospitals had to be cancelled. Senior doctors would be used as replacements for junior doctors in emergency care. The British Medical Association union is demanding 35% more money to compensate for real wage losses since 2008. The Conservative government in London is currently refusing to negotiate this, calling the demand unaffordable. The last round of talks was broken off at the beginning of December without any results. Doctors would have liked to start the new year with the hope of a salary offer that would lead to better staffing levels in the healthcare system, said the chairman of the BMA Committee of Junior Doctors, Robert Lawrenson, and Vivek Trivedi in a joint statement on Wednesday. Instead, they are being forced into another strike by a government that is unwilling to make a reasonable salary offer, they say. Across the healthcare system, the mood is at an all-time low, and the strike is another set record for the NHS, the longest strike in its history. But they say they can end the industrial dispute immediately if they get a reasonable offer from the government. That was said also by Lawrenson and Trivedi. This is the only way to improve the working conditions of assistant doctors and ensure high-quality care for patients. Almost half of doctors in the NHS are junior doctors. Everyone is in the first 10 years after completing their studies. 2/3 of the doctors belong to the BMA. Members of the smaller Hospital Consultants and Specialist Association union have also joined the current strike, though. Since the British government has shown no willingness to enter into new negotiations, the industrial dispute is likely to continue. Since March 23, the BMA has organized 28 strike days, and many observers expect the doctor strikes to last throughout the year and become one of the main issues in the British election campaign. The vote for the lower house will take place at the end of the year or at the beginning of 2025 at the latest. Hospital doctors in England have with that begun the longest continuous strike in the 70-year history of the NHS. And according to the British newspaper The Guardian, tens of thousands of patients cannot be treated because of the massive disruption in hospitals. The British Patients Association is also concerned that patient safety could be at risk because hospitals have too few staff as a result of the strike. The association therefore called on the ministers and the British Medical Association to bring in mediators to end the doctor strike as quickly as possible. It is likely that many thousands of appointments will have to be cancelled or rescheduled. That was said by Stephen Powis, the National Medical Director of the NHS in England. And during the strike, up to half of the medical staff could be on strike. And Stephen Powis is therefore expecting one of the most difficult beginnings to the year in the history of the health service. The strike by junior doctors also comes at one of the busiest times of the year. Traditionally, the NHS has seen a rise in hospital admissions in the 2 weeks after Christmas as people postpone their treatment because of the festive period. In addition, the work pressure is high due to the winter respiratory diseases. There have been several healthcare strikes in England over the past years, as said, resulting in delayed treatment and cancelled appointments for hundreds of thousands of patients. Most recently, the intern stopped work for 3 days before Christmas. The dispute over doctors' salaries, which has been simmering for months, recently flared up again because the last negotiations before Christmas failed. And as I said, the union is demanding a 35% wage increase, which it says is necessary to cover the impact of inflation over several years. Labour has been struggling for months to take a clear line on the NHS strikes as well. Health spokesman Wes Streeting believes doctors' demands are fair and reasonable, but regularly says strikes are the wrong way to enforce them, and he does not support work stoppages in the NHS. He did not want to answer whether a future Labour government would respond to the demands of healthcare workers. Wage increases are a process, not an event. That's what the Labour-list news site quoted him as saying on Wednesday. The situation in Wales is indicative of the party's stance. The Labour-led regional government there is refusing to submit an acceptable offer as well. On January 16th, the Welsh junior doctors will therefore go on a 5-day strike. Under continuous strain, the National Health Service NHS has encountered a series of challenges during the past 14 years as well under the Conservative government. And there were quite a number of challenges. The NHS has consistently received insufficient funding to meet the growing demand for its services. This underfunding has led to staffing cuts, reduced bed numbers and other resource limitations, straining the service and resulting in longer waiting times and decreased access to care. The aging demographic of the UK has placed a heavier burden on the NHS as well. Older individuals are more likely to require hospital care and other medical services. And this demographic shift has amplified the demand for healthcare services. And there has been a significant rise in demand for elective care, such as hip replacements and cataract surgery. This surge in demand has resulted in extended waiting times for these procedures. The NHS is grappling with serious staffing shortages, particularly in nursing, and this shortage stems from several factors, including low pay, unfavorable working conditions, and limited career advancement opportunities. The NHS has been under pressure to implement efficiency savings in recent years as well, and this pressure has led to various changes, such as the introduction of new IT systems and the closure of a few hospitals. However, these changes haven't always been successful, and in some cases, they have led to a decline in the quality of care. The Conservative government has been criticized for increasing the privatization of the NHS. This privatization has raised concerns that the government is undermining the NHS fundamental principles and making it more difficult for patients to access care. And these challenges have resulted in a deterioration in the quality of care provided by the NHS. And this decline has been documented in numerous reports, including the annual NHS staff survey, which revealed that staff morale and satisfaction are at an all-time low. The NHS has also been embroiled in a series of scandals in recent years, such as the Mid Staffordshire NHS Trust scandal, which exposed widespread neglect of patients. And these scandals have further eroded public confidence in the NHS. Despite promises to increase NHS funding, it remains unclear whether these measures will be sufficient to reverse the ongoing decline of the service. The government's plans have been met with skepticism from some health experts who argue that they will not address the underlying problems facing the NHS. And that means the future of the NHS is uncertain. If the government fails to invest significantly in the service and address the issues that are causing its decline, the NHS is likely to deteriorate further and become increasingly inaccessible to patients. And if you want to know more about British politics and Brexit, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.